Today we're at Steamboat Lake, north of Steamboat, Colorado. We're at 8,200 feet up in the high country in northern Colorado. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful country here. We're fishing. My boy and I are trolling for rainbow trout. There's some monster trout here. And isn't the scenery just absolutely gorgeous? We're going to talk about staffing today. I want to share with you some tips and strategies that I believe will help you minimize some of your headaches when hiring employees. Your employees are your most valuable resource. They can be your biggest headache. So let's help you hire the right ones. Let me share with you some strategies that I use. So let's jump in. Check out this beautiful scenery. It's gorgeous. Here we go. Come follow me. Then this is the channel for you. Here you go. It's pretty cool, huh? All right. Just like that. Oh, I gotta look at the camera right here. Yeah, I'm gonna catch it. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And just like that, oh wait, I gotta snap my fingers. And just like that, we jumped out of the Mesa, back in the home office. Welcome. Thanks for hanging in there. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna jump into hiring staff. We're gonna talk about maintaining staff, training staff, supporting your staff. There is so much. This could go on forever. And there are directors and owners out there that I have no doubt are far better human resource experts than I am. I've got 16 years of hiring and years before that in another industry. So I've learned a lot of things that I do for hiring are in my heart and in my head. But let me throw some strategies at you really quick that I think can help you. And again, please share in the comments below different things that you've done, suggestions, ideas, share links to documents, whatever. Let's collaborate together to make this a great series on hiring and supporting your staff. All right, I'm gonna show you a real quick preview of what we're gonna jump into, and then we'll dive in. Here we go. All right, I wanna show you first, a couple things that I use is Indeed. I use Indeed.com to place a lot of my ads, and I use our local workforce center. So check with your local workforce center because that's free, and I've hired some really great staff from the local workforce center. Indeed's a great one, and both of them, you can get in here. Let's say, here we go. Here's a substitute lead teacher position. And you can pause the video if you'd like. You can read our ad in here. And this was done a little while ago, last year in 2019, I can tell by minimum wage. And so here we're just advertising for a floater. What a great way to build your support staff. Okay, also you can search resumes in here. So in this case, I've hit preschool teacher, Ware, Oak Harbor, Washington. You can find resumes. And then you can search down there. If you pay a subscription, I feel like it's maybe $50 for 30 days. You can then go through and search resumes and contact potential applicants. One thing in my local market is I don't ever contact applicants that appear to be working at a local childcare center down the street. Just one of those ethics things, because I've had other center owners in my market that have literally tried to recruit my staff. And listen, if they recruit them away from me, hey, maybe I wasn't taking a good enough care of them, giving them enough opportunity, paying them enough. So think about that. I try to stay away from that. Unless they've reached out to me, then that's a different thing. Maybe they're needing a change. So anyway, the resume search feature in Indeed is pretty cool. And our local county has that same thing as well. So don't just wait for people to find you. Feel free to reach out to them. Make sure you have a good employment app. I'll put ours in the treasure box for you. You're welcome to use it, copy it, make it your own, and so forth. Here's a great system that we use, and this is our new hire packet. We used to call this employee docs and training because I can simply send a new staff an email. I've talked about this briefly before, and this form here gives them all the documentation they need. And we're going to update this a little bit. We got to put a couple links in there for our 2 locations. Here's a W-9, an I-9 form that they can download and fill out. There's one for AWOL. There's our ethical code of conduct. What else is here? Direct deposit, health form, staff signature sheet, all of these things. Here's things to do, groups I want them to join, our Facebook, our YouTube channels, trainings, and so forth. Here's our staff handbook, our illness policy, our family handbook, and then trainings. They can just click on this and they can jump right into our YouTube channel, bingo, and watch our staff orientation training. And we've created a playlist here of 3 different trainings, an hour, going through our center, everything from how to do a mop bucket to how to mop the floor to all kinds of things, clocking in and so forth. I'll pause that. Then we put a safety video in there. And okay, so there's that. Then there's also trainings in here, standard precautions, a training that I did for that. They can register through PDIS and other trainings like FEMA. We just create links in here. And I have a video also for our staff that walks them through this. This is just a screen recording, kind of like I'm doing right now for you, that just helps a brand new staff walk through here. And of course, we give them all of this in a nice packet with these printed out and all the copies as well, because everybody doesn't have a printer and so forth. So we give them a physical copy as well as an email where they have access to all this, and it all looks identical. That's the key, keep it simple. They can also get in here and register for fingerprints and fill out their CBI form, which is really important. All right, what else do we have here? That was the orientation. Let's talk about staff schedule real quick. It's important in scheduling your staff in a super easy way that they can see that. So here we've just got a Google Doc, and we've got our classrooms and our days and our staff times. Yellow means available shift. In this case, Cinderella's off on Thursday, so it looks like we've covered down here. It looks like there's an available shift on Thursday, Friday. It's really important to be able to function smooth. I've heard of centers that will actually create a schedule week to week, and I don't understand. If you have to do that, you're not having the consistency for your children in your program, and if you don't have consistency with your staff, the kids are going to struggle. So I really encourage you to adopt something like this. And our staff can see this right on their phone. Just Google Sheets. It's a simple app, and they can scroll through, and we can be scheduled out 6 months, what have you, and cover staff off far in advance. So here's another thing. We've got our Sublist. Now, I mentioned I was advertising for a sub earlier. Here's how we maintain it. It's just a simple tab in here. So in this case, we've got a bunch of fictitious characters here that are working for us, and this is their availability, okay, when they could sub. This would be wonderful, right, if we all had this kind of a large sub list. And in this case, look at Popeye here. Popeye's a CMU student at Colorado Mesa University, and this says Popeye's already working at ABC Learning Center on Monday, Tuesday. So my staff know that that individual is not available on Monday, Tuesday. Just like Woody's working Wednesday through Friday at ABC, and it looks like Aladdin is working Thursday at CMU. So they know they're not available on those days. So that we try to maintain this so that our staff can see what's the best person to call and so forth. We have some also some indicators. So hey, this is a director, a lead teacher, just document is pending, an assistant ECT over there. In this case, Tarzan it would just be a teacher's aide. So they know, hey, if I'm a lead, I need to cover myself with a lead. I need to find Woody or someone with 2 stars so I know that they can run my classroom. So that's really helpful. They have phone numbers. So if you take away the excuses from your staff that they say, I don't know who to call, and you give them a simple system like this so they have people to call, it's a great way to eliminate those excuses. Here's another excuse you might get, which is, I didn't know. So we have a video right here on the very top of our sub list, and it looks like this. There's that guy again. So I'm talking in this video about how to cover your shift and what those expectations are. So important, and they have a link right there. It's 7 minutes long, so if they call and say, hey, I'm sick, I don't know who to cover, I go, watch the video. Watch the video, look at the sub list. I've answered all of those things in advance, so those are pretty neat things. What else do we have here? Staff training videos. This is right on our staff schedule. So if I hire a new cook, I've got a couple of training videos that we've made right in here for Cook, talking about allergies and food and processes, and it takes time to build that. So, and that's something that CCBC, Child Care Biz Consulting, can do for you. We can share some of those with you. You could use some, or we could create some content for you as well. Or get an assistant with the camera and just talk to your cook. Go into the kitchen on the weekend and create some orientation to your kitchen and processes. It's just a great way to document some good training. Document it one time, share it with all your future cooks. But there's all kinds of trainings that we link in here for our staff. All right, what else do we have tucked away in here? Of course, we've seen the roster and ROMs and the schedule. I just want to talk about supporting your staff, and when they're on board, when they're in the classrooms, they have notes so they know what's going on with kids. They have the roster so they know each day which children they are expected to have and how many they're going to have throughout the day. Again, supporting your staff in that way is great. Let's see, Disney checklist. So here is what we use to monitor all of our staff and their trainings and make sure they're up to date on standard precautions, abusive head trauma, mandatory reporter, CPR, first aid, all of these things. This is really cool in such that for SpongeBob, I can know by looking at that he's all set. Bugs Bunny, though, this turned red because Bugs' mandatory reporter ran out on March, or Bugs took mandatory reporter March 10th of 2019. Tells me here that they need to make sure he takes that yearly, and so it turned bright red. In this case, Jerry took abusive head trauma June 7th of last year. Today is June 4th of 2020, so it's bright pink. This will turn bright pink. It's a what is that? A rose, a light rose, a pink rose? I don't know. It's that color, and it turns that way 60 days prior. So it gives me a warning. All these in pink here are 60 days from expiring, so that's really helpful to us as well. Cool little formulas in there that help with that. So med exam. Most of my staff are biannually, but if they're a driver, if they transport kids, we make them, my nurse and I like to see that annual exam annually, or if they have a medical condition, then we want to make sure we have them on an annual schedule. Anyway, we've got, you can see this in the treasure chest. We've got staff orientation, fingerprints, so we know if we've sent them, if they're clear, they're scheduled, all these other trainings that you need to make sure your staff have, they're in there. All right, what else do we have here? We've got, okay, here's a good tool. This is human resources, and I'm really just touching the topics of this. I promise I'll dive deeper into these maybe in the next 2 episodes. I just want to kind of whet your taste buds on what the next couple episodes are going to be about, and I will. I'll dive into these a little bit deeper, and we'll talk some more. But this is a payroll review here, and so here's an example. Here's a Fruita location. I'm able to look at my staff that are in one classroom, in my kindergarten school age classroom, and I can see based on how many hours they work and how much they made or how much they make currently, what my payroll was last year. So my payroll for this classroom last year was $54,100. And this year, moving forward, with pay increases, it's going to be $61,100 for that one classroom. And I can see what my expense is weekly and monthly. And this is an example. These are not, we've got to do a little recalculation here, because here Candy is working 31 hours at $12.50 an hour. She's going to be a little bit more than $7.90, $80 a week. That's going to be a day. I gotta fix that. We'll get that fixed. But with this tool, and this is a brand new tool that we're doing, rolling it out right away. This tool is going to allow me to look at what I'm paying daily, weekly, monthly for payroll for a specific room. And then if you match this up with our roster, which has revenue calculation in there, I can see what that same classroom is revenuing, with the projected revenues for that classroom daily, weekly, and monthly as well. Wouldn't you like to know the difference between what that current enrollment looks like today, this week, this month, compared to your staffing? And if you need to trim a little bit there, you need to go, I got to see if I can squeeze a couple hours less out of that one classroom for that staff member, or to make my numbers work a little better, we're going to get these two tools working together and looking together. So again, it's payroll by classroom, and we already have revenue by classroom. So don't let that little formula there scare you there. This is going to be really a fantastic way to measure payroll on a weekly, monthly basis, compare it directly to the classroom. So look for that improvement modification coming up soon. What else do we have here? Oh, here's a peer review. So these are just tools about how to support your staff. We've got peer review for tiny. So staff, we can send this out to 15 staff or 5 staff, and then they can review themselves, each other, not themselves. Perfect tense, right? All the time. So they can go through and comes to work with a positive attitude and consistently a pleasure to work with. How do you rate Tanya? How do you rate your co-teacher in this? Well, I'd give her a 9. Yeah, it's like almost always. Sometimes there's some rough days like us also. I'm going to give her a 9 in that case. So anyway, this is a cool tool, and this comes back to us all on one sheet, so that 10 reviews of Tanya, and then it's got all the scores on there, and then suggestions at the bottom like, hey, what kind of things can Tanya work on, or what are some of her strengths, what would you need or your program need from directors and so forth for admin. So okay, I blasted through a bunch of tools. We're going to be diving in further. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. Hope you're interested. Hope you find some good help in there, some good tools. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell. We try to launch a new episode once a week. We'll try to also mix in there some extra tools and detail. I'm going to do some real strong detail diving down into our ROMs and roster, show you how I manage it. But I've learned a lot about going with your gut instinct, a lot about making referral calls, those kind of things. So there's some great tips. Hopefully I can give you in the next episode on hiring staff. Showed you some tools you can support them with. Have a marvelous day. So stick with me next week. We'll throw another video up there, but we'll be floating and fishing on the Steamboat Lake. It's beautiful, giant trout like this. Did you not notice my big giant trout that we got from Mesa Lake here? We had it stuffed, just got it back from the taxidermy today. It was 40 pounds, 36 inches. It was amazing, beautiful color. So we decided to mount this guy and put this in the office. So, okay. Well, might have picked it up at Cabela's, but it's cute, right? All right, guys, thanks for watching. We hope to see you here soon. Make sure you like and subscribe. Have a marvelous day.